and thank you for joining us today. I'm going to give it another minute or so, see who else joins us. I'm sharing the launch and learn screen, right? Okay, perfect. So we'll just give it another 30 seconds and we'll see who else joins, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for those of you who have joined so far and listened to our silly banter that we've had. It's been fun to work with the Comet team, but also to get to know them as well too. So we always like to have a little bit of fun. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Just so you know, this will be recorded and shared out following the presentation. We'll also have this on our website as well. So if you want to review after the webinar, you can do so that way, or check out on our website. We've had a lot of conversations early before this webinar, but feel free to use the chat box, use the Q&A, ask questions. This series, our Launch and Learn series, is focused on you, the person watching the video, making sure that you see the integration, learn maybe a little bit about Comet Backup, learn about Gradient and what we do as well too. So please engage if you have any questions. We have people here to help. So I want to go ahead and introduce who's going to be speaking today. So hi, my name is Andrea Ayala. I'm the Director of Technology Alliances for Gradient MSP. And then we have Gretel Patapet. She is the Customer Success Lead for Comet Backup. And then Andrew McKay, our Director of Sales for Gradient MSP. Just a quick run through of what we're going to be covering today. I'm going to give a quick overview of our Synthesize integration program and dive into a little bit about our two modules that we have. Comet will then come on, Gretel will come on and do an overview there. Then Andrew and Josh will come in and do a quick, not a quick, but it'll be an integration deep dive where they'll be able to show from start to finish, setting up the integration, what everything looks like. And then, like I said, we're going to leave some time for questions at the end, so feel free to use that chat box. All right, so I always kick off these Launch and Learn webinars with a little history behind Gradient, why and how we got here today. Our founders, Colin Knox and Ryan Barker, actually started off with their own MSP called Accelo Professional Services. It was there where they learned the different pain points that an MSP can have in their business, the different gaps in the market that there currently was, and which led them to founding one of the leading industry password management software known as Passportal. That company was then eventually acquired by SolarWinds, which is now Enable. And after that acquisition, Colin and Ryan saw another huge gap in the market, a need that just wasn't getting filled by the vendors currently in our space. And they started and founded Gradient MSP in 2020. Flash forward a year after that, we then raised $10.25 million in our Series A round. And in February of 2022, we launched our Synthesize integration program, which allows vendors like Comet Backup to build integrations against our API. Our mission at Gradient is to give everyone an opportunity to succeed in the IT channel. And for MSPs, that may mean automated the usage data flow and alerts from your channel vendors into your PSA of choice. And then for channel vendors, that may mean accelerating your time to market through a single integration that connects to the PSAs that we support. Like I mentioned previously, Gradient was established in 2020. In a little over now 2 years, we have surpassed 720 MSP partners on our platform. Over $4 million in unbilled revenue actually recovered by those using our platform. $2 billion in annual revenue reconciled on our Synthesize platform, and 5,500 hours saved monthly on the really annoying task of billing reconciliation. But what do all these stats on this slide mean? It shows that Gradient is proven to help MSPs run a smoother, more successful services business by connecting all the solutions that they resell and use straight into their PSA of choice. To help explain a little bit about Gradient and the different modules we have and all that stuff, we like to keep in the space name and use a planet as a descriptor. I like to think of Gradient as a planet. At that core is our API, which is a tool that allows vendors to connect and build integrations into our Synthesize integration hub, which is that pink layer that you see there. That hub is the program to which vendors like Comet can build integrations and create profiles, and you as an MSP can then access those integrations. Gradient now has 2 modules to save time and money, and Comet Backup is actually our first vendor to build against both of them and launch them both at the same time, which is really exciting for Gradient, and we're super excited to have them be the first ones to do that. With our billing module on the Synthesize platform, all you would need to do is just hook up that integration, and your usage information gets written back into your PSA automatically through an integration like Comet. So at the end of the month, all you need to do is just go to that card, approve that invoice, and then you're good to go. If we do not have an integration with one of the vendors in your stack, you actually have the ability to import a CSV usage. All you would need to do that is go to your vendor portal, drag and drop, or sorry, export that consumption report that they give you, drag and drop it into our system, and then you've basically created your own integration with us. With our newest alerts module, you can now consolidate all the different alerts in the different tools and monitoring systems that you have to create tickets into the service board or ticket queue of choosing within the PSA, which is a tool that you use every single day. The 9 PSAs that we support on our billing module are on this screen here. Some of the larger ones like ConnectWise Manage, Autotask, Kaseya BMS, but also some of the smaller ones like Syncro, HaloPSA, Accelo, ones that are growing in fan favoritism, and ones that vendors like Comet hear all the time about wanting to get built into. So now with the integration and through the integration with Gradient, Comet now supports all 9 of these PSAs on the billing module. Our core purpose with that billing module is really to make the monthly task of billing reconciliation as easy as possible. We've simplified that process, giving you a single platform, which is our Synthesize platform, to manage all the monthly service invoices across the different vendors in your stack. We're eliminating the need to have to go back and forth between vendor and PSA, making sure that everything is correct. Now it's all just in one system, and you're able to adjust and correct accordingly. As more vendors get added into our platform, you'll be able to connect their integrations and have all the services that you utilize daily flow straight into your PSA using Gradient. For those of you that are new to Gradient or may have not seen our billing module before, Andrew is going to walk you through what that looks like, what the setup process is in just a bit. Now on our alert side, because like I said, Comet is integrated with both our billing and alerts module. On this brand new module, alerts are triggered from your vendor and queued and connected to your PSA of choice. They're automatically created, and you're able to route them to a specific board and leverage different vendors to push anything that's critical from your vendor into your PSA, which, like I said before, is a tool that you're using every single day. Version 1 of this module is allowing for vendors to create tickets within that queue. Version 2 will actually include filtering rule sets, condensing alerts, being able to loop back and close out things within portals. Lots of cool stuff coming, hopefully in Q1 of next year. The PSAs that are currently supported on the alerts module side is ConnectWise Manage, Datto Autotask, Kaseya BMS, and Pulseway, with a few more coming very shortly. So now I would like to pass it over to Gretel, who is going to talk a little bit more about Comet Backup.
Cool. Thanks, Andrea. Hi, guys. I'm glad to be here. Again, my name is Gretel. I'm customer success for Comet. And yeah, I'd just like to introduce you to Comet, what we do, and what the benefits are of using Comet as your backup provider. So just a bit of a background on how we got started. Comet was actually founded by a team that ran very similar to, I guess, to how Gradient had started, a team that ran an MSP themselves, and they were looking around. They couldn't find a provider that met all of their backup needs. So they thought, just clicking. There you go. So they thought, we'll just build it ourselves. They had the insight, the experience, and most of all, the talent to do that. So they went ahead and Comet was built. There you go. And Comet is packed with these features. These are just some of the features that you would enjoy with Comet. The client is lightweight, so it doesn't have a lot of, it doesn't put a lot of strain on the device that you're installing the client on. We use the duplication. Backups are deduplicated, which we'll talk about in a couple of slides ahead. And Comet is 100% rebrandable. So for MSPs who want to offer a backup service, but they don't want to their end users to know that it's not their software, then this would be the perfect solution for you. And I would, to find out more about Comet, I would encourage you guys to visit our website, www.cometbackup.com, and learn more about what features we have to offer. So more on the technology benefits with Comet. The duplication is client side. So yeah, so these are the technology benefits that would really set us apart in the industry. Backups are deduplicated, and so they're really fast. It's incremental forever, so you don't need to do a full re-upload. You just need to do the first backup needs to be fully uploaded. The following backups are all incremental, and data is always compressed and encrypted. It's always encrypted on backup, transit, and rest. The only time that it's not encrypted is upon restore. And the diagram at the bottom of the screen, it just shows the technology that we use. We call it chunking, which is literally you split files into individually compressed and encrypted chunks, and then these chunks are uploaded to the storage destination, and then when the backup runs again, it detects that what chunks already exist. So again, it's incremental forever. You just upload the new chunks, or like the changes to your files. And when you restore, when it comes to restoring, it's super fast because it directly downloads only the chunks required for the job. So that's how we manage to provide a really quick backup and restore solution. And just a little bit more on how it works. It's super easy to manage your backups from the Comet server, which would be your main console. So you just install the client software on the device, and once it's installed on the device, it's then connected to the server. And from there, you can manage your backups, your devices, your users, you can also do restores from the Comet server. So you just have this one central console that you need to use to manage, like even if you have 100 devices, it's super easy. You also have the option to direct your backups straight to the cloud if you're doing cloud storage, cloud storage, or you can also set up on-prem storage with Comet. You can also replicate if you want to duplicate your storage, one on the cloud and one on-prem. That's absolutely doable with us. So again, Comet is we really designed Comet to work for MSPs. So it's a lot of use cases, and there's a lot of different ways to configure Comet to meet your use case. There you go. Backup offering. So what are the things that you can back up with Comet? The base charge would cover a lot of backup types already. So files and folders is included in the base charge, and a couple other file types like MySQL. You can back up some programs using as a program output. Windows System Server and with Windows System Backup are also included in the base charge. And then we have what we call boosters, which I think we'll cover in a bit during the demo later on. And yeah, boosters are just like basically backup types that are not covered in the base charge. For example, if you want to be able to do a bare metal restore, then you can do a disk image backup. You can if you want to back up Office 365, that would be considered as a booster backup, Hyper-V, etc. And I also mentioned that we have a lot of storage options or different ways to configure storage on Comet. So we are currently, there was a demand for a bundled storage and backup service. So we came up with Comet Storage powered by Wasabi, which is just a one-stop shop for backup and storage. We're offering Wasabi storage at no markup. So you only have the one account. You just need to sign up with Comet, and you can create buckets from your Comet account. And you just need to pay from one account, I guess is what a lot of MSPs are after. So you can just focus on your service and not managing separate accounts. And we have close integrations if you don't want to use Wasabi as your storage. Of course, you're open to using any S3 compatible storage. S3 compatible cloud storage is actually configurable with Comet. We do have a close integration with a couple of the more popular ones like Backblaze, Amazon Storage, Google, which just means that you can set these up as storage templates. Which I guess to straight to the point, to keep a long story short, it just makes it easier for you to assign storage faults to your users. You won't have to do things manually if you have new users. Okay, so I think that's all we have. I'm gonna turn it over to Josh and Andrew for the demo.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get into some of the details here. So I can share out a screen. I do have permissions. Excellent. Okay. So we are into Gradient. So for those of you who have not seen or experienced Gradient, welcome. So I have skipped over a handful of the initial steps just in the interest of time. I have thrown into the live chat here and we'll be just kind of confirming that we've got the, let me just make sure that that's in there for everyone. Registration link right there. So if you are not a Gradient user today and you did want to follow along at home, by all means, you can click on that link. You can get started for free. If you prefer to kind of dip a toe in the waters, you could also set up a time to do a one-to-one demo with us as well and get a bit of a better intro. Setting up is very simple. So your first step is going to be creating your login. You can do that a few different ways. We do have SSO with both Google or Microsoft if you prefer. Alternatively, you can set up a login via Magic Link as well. Obviously, a pretty popular method to do that. Your next step, once you've actually created that login, is going to be to tie in your PSA. So that is a step that I have intentionally skipped for us here for demo purposes. Not that it's long or any kind of difficult work. You set up a least privileged user within your PSA, but it does take sometimes about 5 minutes to actually import the data from your PSA agreements. As much as I like entertaining people, 5 minutes is sometimes a lot of airtime to fill. So we've skipped ahead to once that sync is actually set up, and this is what you're going to be seeing. So this is the billing module within Gradient. Now this is going to show us really quickly at a glance all of the different line items from our agreements that we bill for, all the customers that are subscribed to that, and the unit counts that we're billing out of our PSA today. Now that gives us a really good view into our services and can give us some really good breakdowns in terms of things like which of my services are performing best for me based on the profit and revenue. Are there opportunities for us to focus on certain services that are maybe high revenue, high profit drivers to help us grow the business a little bit, recognizing your top performers as well as your underperforming services. This is great, but it's only part of it. So we want to also go through and reconcile our services come month end, make sure that we're billing accurately. That's where the Comet integration is going to come into play. So we click on the integrations tab at the top, and that's going to show you all of the different integrations that currently exist within Gradient. We are going to scroll down and find Comet Backup right here, and you're going to see that they're integrated for both billing as well as the alerts module. Now, we're going to go through the setup of both of these at the same time. You can set up one and or the other if you so choose. To be very honest, it's the exact same process. If you're setting up the billing side of things and not the alerts, you're not going to be setting up your PSA board and vice versa. You're going to have some of the stuff for the alerting piece that you won't have in the billing side of things. So our first step is to actually tie the two together. So obviously we're going to generate our API token and copy that, and you're going to open your vendor portal. That's going to take us right here where I've been conveniently timed out. And we're going to go ahead and log in and navigate to our settings in our Comet portal, integrations, and right here we have our ability to input our PSA services. So this is where we're going to add our gradient token. So we hit add, gradient token gets pasted in, save, and then we are going to save our changes. Make sure that you hit the save changes at the top. It is going to refresh your screen, but that ensures that obviously this has synced up. Once this has fully reloaded, back to your integrations, and good practice to hit your sync now. And that is going to force that data sync to happen into the gradient portal. Now that's going to basically allow us to ensure that those two portals are tied together. Everything is working. We haven't missed any steps along the way. To verify, once you're back in your gradient portal here, you can click on check permissions and you're going to get the little success button. Now, this is an important step when we are getting ready for our alerts, and that is choosing which PSA board we want to direct those alerts to. PSA boards that exist in your PSA will automatically be pulled over so that you can select from a dropdown at this point. So you can choose the appropriate board for your alerts from Comet, and away you go. From here, we're going to do a couple quick pieces of mapping. Now, the mapping is something that is done on initial setup, nothing that you would need to do ever again. However, if you choose to add some of the boosters from Comet down the road that you didn't have on initial setup, you'll just want to go through and you can configure your integration again, at which point you would just be able to skip to this step, nothing else that you would need to do. So from here, we want to map our account. So obviously the account that exists in Comet, what account do we want it updating in our PSA? If those account names match exactly, we're going to auto map those for you. So we do save a lot of the time in auto mapping. However, there's always instances where a name in your Comet portal might not match exactly to your name in your PSA. You might have Mason Test in your Comet portal, but it might be Mason Test LLC in your PSA. So we can map whatever we want to the different customers, and away we go. It's simple drag and drop, and you can move on to your next size. From here, we're going to map our services. So this is where we obviously have our base unit, but we also have all of our boosters as well. And I will just quickly pop over to this screen and let Josh kind of speak to the boosters, because this is kind of a convenient place to introduce those a little bit.
Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. I'm Josh. I'm just one of the developers here at Comet. Yeah, basically it more or less is self-explanatory, but you have the base charge, which is equivalent to each username. And then we have the additional boosters. Those are above and beyond just the typical backups of files and folders and things of that nature. If you go to this screen, the pricing screen, I can put that link into the chat for everyone. If you go into there, you click on each individual one, it'll give you details about those boosters. Yeah, it just depends on what you need to back up. Nothing too tricky there.
Easy enough. So you've got your different boosters. Now for our purposes, we are going to map our cloud backup for servers just to our base unit here. Obviously, if we wanted to add anything else, we can select that. The piece that I'm searching here is pulling the actual line item from our PSA and telling us, based on the counts from Comet, what line items are we looking to update in our PSA agreements. Once we finish the service mapping side of things, that is it. Very, very simple. We're going to finish that, and we can now actually pop back into our billing tab here. Now, because I've set up that integration at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and just force the sync of that billing data back into Gradient. Something that you're not going to need to do every time. This is automatically going to sync for you, but obviously we don't want to sit around and wait for that sync to happen. Now it is, I believe, a daily sync, but I can just force that at any point in time. And I can go through in my Gradient portal here, search by my vendor, and I can actually take a look here at our cloud backup for servers. It's showing me a green dot telling me that this is going to be data that is imported via a live integration, and it is coming in from Comet Backup. Now you saw earlier that we had the number that was imported from the PSA. Once we've connected our vendor integration, we're going to get a second number here. Now, bear with me for purposes of the demo. We obviously only have the one unit set up. However, this is going to give you a really quick at a glance view of A1A Car Wash. Last month had 22 servers. Today, we're only being billed for one. The nice piece with this is that you have a degree of checks and balances in place over your billing. There's only so much automation that you want We want to be able to streamline this process, but ensure that our billing is accurate. So this allows me to either do one of two things. I can just quickly approve this. If I look and I know that that's an accurate count, I hit the approve button. Gradient writes back to your PSA agreement and updates that count to your new number. No additional clicks. So instead of having multiple clicks to update your PSA agreement, single click and approve, and away we go. I can also multi-select. So if I want to look at my entire cloud backup for servers, this is where you can have as much automation as you want. I can look at all of these numbers and say, yep, all of those look right. Select all, hit approve, and I've been able to reconcile my entire service line in about 30 seconds, as opposed to going in to every single line item in each agreement and updating them manually. The other thing that you can do with this is that you could take a look and say, you know what, we had a couple servers fall off mid-month, and maybe I'm doing my reconciliation a little bit early, but I know that they're going to be adding those back before the end of the month. So I can actually come into adjust, and I can manually update this to be whatever I need it to be. So if I know that they're going to be adding all of those servers back, I can actually bring that back to 0. If I know they're going to be adding a couple servers before end of month, I can update that unit count that I want to write back to my PSA. I can just hit update. And again, we're going to write back that unit count to update to an additional 3 units. I also have the ability to prorate my transactions. So should my PSA support prorated transactions, I can actually select the date that I want this to be effective of, and it's going to update that effective December 15th, if that's what I chose. Again, it gives you a quick glimpse into what is my actual total profit and revenue for this service. And if I'm adding 3 licenses, what is my actual adjustment or change in my profit and revenue for that service as well? So at a glance, I can take a look, ensure that everything is accurate. I can, in effectively 2 button clicks, update and reconcile all of the unit counts that I've gotten from my vendor, Comet Backup, and update all of the agreements in my PSA of choice. And that is really how you can save a whole bunch of time. Ideally, you're going to unearth a couple counts that were maybe off initially, recognize that revenue that you're already delivering to your partners, but ultimately you're going to be driving a whole lot of operational efficiency through your business by being able to go in and save yourself hours on updating those counts by doing it in a couple of button clicks. Now, that is the one side of the coin. Obviously, we have the other side, which is alerts. Now, alerts is a bit of an interesting one because there is no UI for me to show you. Gradient is effectively going to be data pass-through at this point, because the alert that's generated from Comet is going to be passed into Gradient, where we then take that data, normalize it, and output it to whatever PSA that you're using in the form of a ticket. So should one of your backups fail, we can actually go through and output that into the form of a ticket. Now, your ticket is going to look exactly like this. Now, for this instance, we've gone ahead and used Autotask. And Josh, I'll let you kind of speak to some of the details of what Comet has chosen to include in some of these tickets, so that everyone can know what to expect from that.
Yeah, so the description is really the field of interest there. That is the complete breakout, and unfortunately it's a lot of internalized rendering. So like you get numbers instead of human readable words, but it is the complete backup job detail. Actually, I will link the, it is API speak. So like I said, it's not completely human readable, but if you look into our docs, you can reverse engineer those numbers into meaningful terms. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The alerts coming over is basically any job that does not equal success. However, we did notice that it is not sending over missed jobs at the moment, but that is on our radar to fix. Yeah.
Perfect. And ultimately, I mean, having worked in the field, and failed backups do happen, it's important to be aware of them and keep an eye on them. You're going to still get all of the details in terms of who this actually happened for in a really simple fashion. But ideally, what Gradient and Comet are looking to solve here is that you don't have to live in multiple panes of glass. You're going to be alerted to any of those failed backups or any of the instances that they want to alert to right in your ticket. So if it's something that is of importance to you, you're going to know about it. It's not lost in a master inbox somewhere. It's directly into your PSA, so that you can action that item in a timely manner and ensure that none of those backups are being missed. That is beginning to end as complicated as I can make it, and we still took only a couple of minutes. So I will turn this back over to Andrea to share her screen back.
Yeah, we did just have a question come in from
Yeah.
Eric. So around, okay, Josh answered it. And just so everyone who's not looking at the chat and watching later on is, does the integration support only Comet hosted servers, or does it support self-hosted servers as well? And it does support both, which is great news. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Go ahead, Andrew.
All right, thank you. So question I'm sure everyone has had. If you have not used Gradient before, ultimately, I'm sure you're asking, how much is all of this going to cost me? We like to keep this as simple as possible. And of course, for Comet partners, we want to make sure that this is not something that there's a cost barrier to you being able to use. So setting up your initial pricing, you're going to be on Synthesize Basic. That is not a typo. It is $0 per month. So you can use the billing integration as well as your alerting integration. You can set up your first vendor integration at no cost. You can also use that CSV import that Andrea had mentioned earlier. So if you've used your Comet Backup integration and there's another vendor that you also want to reconcile that maybe isn't integrated with Gradient at this point, you can use that CSV import. That is a part of the Synthesize Basic, and there's no charge. You can set this up. You're not even asked to enter a digit of credit card information. Where you would have to pay is we want to make sure that we're helping you update not just one, of your services. We want to help you reconcile your entire stack and recognize all that revenue and save that time. So that's where you're going to see our Billing Pro model. Now it's $149 a month. It includes everything that you would get in the basic, but it also includes unlimited vendor integrations. So whether you want to have 3 or 4 vendors or 40 vendors, it's still $149 a month. The same will hold true for alerts. So as soon as you want to add in multiple vendor alert integrations, you're bumped up to that $149 per month tier, and you can set up as many vendor integrations as you like. We did have a couple questions come in that I just want to take a minute here. If your PSA isn't listed or prefer to bill from your account app, is Gradient looking to add direct integration with accounting apps like Xero? Quick answer to that is yes. That is something that is on our 2023 roadmap. To be able to directly integrate into accounting packages as well. So that is something to keep an eye on. Your next question that came through, and we have a couple of them here. Josh, thank you for answering. Andrea as well. So just so everyone, again, who's not following along here, we charge via protected storage size. Is there an option for that? From Josh, not at the moment, unfortunately. The units are based on the Comet's base count and boosters only at this point. Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for putting some questions in there. If any more come up, please feel free to continue on. But from there, we'll kind of wrap things up. So anyone who's not a Gradient partner, really simple. If you want to give it a spin, like we mentioned, you can sign up. You can try out the Comet integration at no cost. By all means, scan this QR code. You can get a bit more of a detailed one-to-one demo if you choose. Alternatively, you can forego speaking with anyone at all, and you can actually just sign up, tie in your PSA, and set up that Comet integration right away. If you like, just down at the bottom there, go to meetgradient.com/register, and you are off to the races. Gretel, if someone wanted to learn a little bit more about Comet, where would they go for that?
Yeah, sure. That is the sign up page, cometbackup.com/signup. You can also email us at hello@cometbackup.com if you have any questions about the integration. We're really excited about this. We're building our networks and growing our partnerships. So if you'd like to build the software with us, just sign up. Just also wanted to note that the trial account there's no trial version, so you get access to all of Comet's features. So you get to really try out this integration while on trial, as well as all of the booster types and all the other features.
Cool. All right. Well, that is the end of our presentation today. Thank you all so much for joining and for all your questions. Super helpful, and will be great as we share this recording out post-event. Like Gretel mentioned, and Andrew as well, there's ways that you can contact us if you looking to learn more or have even more questions. We would love to hear them. Thank you to the whole Comet team, Gretel and Josh, for helping build the integration, helping make it successful. You've been great integration partners, and we are so happy to be working with you. And thanks, Andrew, for demoing all of that. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.